Before the invention of the optocoupler, someone invented the Roach.
That's right. Today we are exploring the mysterious Roach circuit found in older guitar amplifiers. Oh no, not that one. Definitely not that one either. We're going to talk about this kind of Roach. So this is the Roach that we're talking about right here. You have a lamp input on this side and a CDS cell on this side. Unlike the mechanical whammy bar that alters pitch, the tremolo circuit works entirely inside the amplifier to create a hypnotic rhythmic throb. The D-Armon tremolo control, released in 1941, was the first standalone effect for a guitarist. It was a heavy metal box containing a small vial of electrically conductive fluid. A motor shook the fluid to physically interrupt the guitar signal, creating a watery, pulsating sound. In 1941, Donald Leslie started his own company and made Leslie speakers. These speakers included a rotating baffle, which, by using the Doppler effect, created a true vibrato sound. In the 1940s and 50s, Premier and Gibson began building tremolo circuits directly into the amplifier chassis. In 1955, Leo Fender introduced his legendary tremolo circuit. It used vacuum tubes to automatically oscillate the volume, defining the soundtrack of 1950s surf rock and rockabilly. In the late 60s and 70s is when someone invented the Roach, which is the circuit we're going to talk about here today. The Roach consists of just a neon light and a CDS cell. It's a way to take a signal from a high voltage circuit to a fairly low voltage circuit and control the input signal. And then Stevie Nicks found it in the 70s. So we've hooked up a neon LED and we're going to slowly turn the voltage up. We're up around 40, 50. We had to get up to around 60 to turn it on. But here you can see the light turned on, 60 to 120. So that's good. So we're just going to take the CDS cell, push it in there, throw some tape around it to block out any light. So inside here we have our CDS cell and our neon lamp. So we're going to go ahead and turn the power on and note the reading up here, about 82K. So we're going to turn the power on, bring our voltage up. There we go. You can see where the light came on, right about there. And you can see we're at 2.6K, and as we increase the voltage, that resistance goes down. And if we come all the way up to 120 volts, you notice we get down to about 627 ohms. So that's all a Roach is. It's just a light that you can take the high voltage side and convert it into a variable resistance on the low voltage side. So this is a schematic representation of the Roach right here. You have your neon light and you have your CDS cell here. This circuit with part of this 12AX7 is the oscillator. So basically, the oscillator, the frequency is set up by this resistor here and these two caps and this resistor here. So this forms a charge-discharge circuit, and then the feedback comes from the plate across this cap to feed back and keep the oscillation going. That variable voltage comes out here and lights this neon light where it comes on and goes dim across that, and that changes the resistance of the CDS cell. So we're going to take a look at point A, which is on the grid of the oscillator, to see what this capacitor network is doing. And then we're going to take a look at B, what's feeding the neon light, the voltages here, and the oscilloscope. And then you can see here this says X and Y, which refers to another point in the schematic. So that other point in the schematic is right here. So at that point, we're going to take a 1000 hertz signal and inject it into here and take a look at what's coming at C, and then we're going to take a look at what's coming at D. So this is what we're seeing on pin 2, point A that we chose on the schematic. If we increase the speed, we can see we're sitting at about 4.9 hertz. So if we increase the pot all the way up, you can see we go up to 8 hertz. So that's with the pot full. And with the pot all the way down, we're at 5. So we got about 5 to 8 hertz of an oscillating signal coming in on point A, which is the grid of the oscillator tube. Now we're going to go to pin 1. And on pin 1, we see a pseudo sine wave, which is feeding the Roach. And if we adjust it again, we go up to 8 hertz and back down to 4 hertz. Okay. So this is the interesting signal you get on the top of the neon light. So that's feeding through a resistor over to the top of the neon light, and that is your neon light and your bounce, everything switching on and off. So this is the input to the intensity control on X. And you can see if we increase the speed, it increases faster. If we lower the speed, it lowers down to 4 hertz. If we change the intensity, which is what the CDS cell is hooked to, one way you're going to have a total short. So if we go to a total short, we see the waveform stabilize, and it's just straight across. So there's no, the CDS cell is having no effect with the intensity all the way down. But if we turn the intensity up, you can see there you have an effect on the intensity. Now we're going to look at the output of that. And it's pretty drastic. You can see it go from 0 to full. Not 0, but I mean that smaller line is the smaller of the output. So we go from that, and again, if we go all the way down, we have no effect. So the intensity control controls the amount of tremolo that we have. So now you have a better understanding of how they did tremolo back in the 60s. Since then, they've moved on to optocouplers and cheaper circuits, so now everything is done by solid state. But I thought it was a rather interesting design for Fender and Ampeg and all the people making amplifiers back in the 60s and 70s. Interesting effect. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you'll like and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next time.